So when we look at the karma, we talk about three things: karma palas, karma fruits of karmas, actions, right? So one is sanchita pala, sanchita karma. Another one is prarabdha. Another one is agami. Okay, so three parts, three different classifications of that categorization of that karma, pala, fruits of karma. So sanchita is the accumulation. That's like our deposit, fixed deposit, let's call it. Okay, it's a fixed deposit that we have in bank stored, okay, accumulated. And every birth we take, we add to some, we take some, okay, from that. So that's the sanchita, that's there, store, accumulated over many hundreds and thousands of births, maybe many thousands of births, millions of births, don't know, okay, however long this is. So it's the sanchita karma. Then there is prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is the one that's been allotted for this body. Okay, so saying that, okay, you are going to experience this much, this is what going to happen. Okay, then it's up to us to do what we want to do, but the results are kind of already decided. That's why people say that's his prarabdha. Okay, if something happens, that's his prarabdha. People say that means it's supposed to happen like that. This is what sometimes we call destiny. Okay, so destiny, prarabdha, time, all these kind of things, kala, all these words we use, right? So that's similar things. So that's his destiny. That's his time. Okay, it is time. That's what doing it. Okay, it is whatever written in our forehead, right? So that's what we say. Brahma writes in our forehead the prarabdha. So that's what's supposed to. That's the second thing. And the third one is agami. Agami means whatever things we are doing or we did in this life, okay, which is the new thing that we are accumulating, whether it is again dharma or adharma, whatever we are doing, that's we are accumulating. So to explain this, if we go a little bit, if we look at just a simple example here, if we look at, for example, a general transaction, I'll use money as an example, right? So you have bank balance, let's say 100 positive, 100 negative, okay, 100 pound, dollar, rupees, whatever you want to call currency, it doesn't matter, 100 units of loan, 100 units of fixed deposits you got. And you get a budget this month to spend 50, and then you have to repay back 25. Okay, that is your target this month. So that is your prarabdha. Okay, so you have that, and in this month, by doing some work or spending, overspending, or doing whatever, you have plus 20 and minus 20, and that gets added to your leftover of your agami, your bank balance. Okay, and your next month, your starting balance is this 70 and minus 145, and then the budget gets allocated, and the second month you spend like this. Now convert this into this numbers into something positive. Okay, so prarabdha, let's convert this as a prarabdha. So you virtue and sins. Okay, you do 100 virtues in this month, in this birth, and then you get some sins. Okay, you do perform some sins. So again, prarabdha, when you say 150 positives, that means there may be 50 happy moments for you, good moments. Okay, even though this is why we say he does not do anything, but all the good things, he gets the lottery and he gets money, he gets all these good things happen to him, even though he's an evil person, because his prarabdha says that he has to get all those good things, okay, which we see as the good things. And some people, they are very good and they are performing daily pujas and very ritualistic and everything good about their conduct and everything, but they suffer so much with their health or wealth or whatever. They suffer so much because, again, that's because they are destined to suffer because of their previous karmas, even though they are doing good. So what they're doing in this life, whether good or bad, as I said, in both cases, right? So somebody is sitting idle and not doing anything or doing all the evil things and things like that, that's they doing in this life is agami. Okay, that's what going to get transferred to your bank balance. Okay, your sanchita karma. That's there. So again, this is just between births, but in between there is this Swarga and Naraka as well, okay, which I did not go in the bank balance previously, month by month example. But there is also this Swarga and Naraka. So once after the fall of this body, one goes to either Swarga or Naraka. So you have, let's say, accumulated a lot of good virtue, okay, punya. You accumulated a lot of punya in this life, and you had a lot of punya balance as well from previous births. You did so many good things in this life. Rajya Yaga, you did Ashwamedha, you did so many vratas and street water tanks and cows, looking after cows, and Brahmana seva, Guru seva, many things you did. All the things that Shastra say you did. You accumulated all the positive things. What's going to happen? You will spend a part of that good thing in Swarga. Okay? You will get a portion of that. Okay, spend this many years in Swarga, this many days, years, yugas, whatever, depending on how much you earned. Right? So you spend that much. On the other hand, if you are an evil person, and I already had a bank balance of negatives, okay, a lot of sins attached to you in the Sanchita basket, and this life also has been horrible. Don't follow any of the things that Dharma Shastra say that this is how you should live, and don't follow any of that. Horrible things you do, okay? Then after death, what happens is, go to Naraka. Will get punished by Yama and his attendants in Naraka. So in hell you will be punished, and once that punishment accrued, then again you take a birth. Again, this birth one is going to get depends on what balance is going to look like. Okay, so if one has a lot of punya balance in the Sanchita basket, okay, in Sanchita karma, lot of punya accumulated, virtue accumulated there, then you will get a birth in a good family. Okay, either to a Brahmana family. Even in Brahmana family, a family that does lot of rituals and follows the Dharma to the as said in the Vedas. Or you may be born in a Brahmana family, which is Brahmana by birth only, and because they got Upaveta, that's type of Brahmana. Or you may be born in a Kshatriya family, Vaishya family, or Shudra family, or even there, Kshatriya family, you may be born in a family of a king's son. Okay, you may be born as a soldier's son. There is different types of Kshatriyas as well, right? So you will find Vaishyas, again, some rich Vaishyas you might fall, or somebody who is looking after a cattle, you might think. Okay, so and there are Shudras or Chandalas, or worst, one could get a birth as a worms or animals, dogs, tigers, whatever, or trees, or even rivers and mountains and rocks or whatever, right? So one could get all those kind of births, and that means they have to live in that life however long that lives. So when I say mountains, for example, is it possible? Yes, mountains are, we all say that, okay, Himalaya is a we offer, we worship, right? So Vindhya mountain, Himalaya mountain, all that we have devatas. So devatas means that's one type of form they have attained, right? Through their karmas, previous karmas. Now, how long they are going to stay? They are going to stay there till end of this creation, probably. They are going to enjoy that or suffer or whichever way we want to call it. They are going to live in that form. So similarly here, coming back, so this prarabdha karma is the one that's allocated. Sanchita karma is the one that's there, a storehouse. Okay, so a storage, which we take a portion every time. Agami is the one that we accumulate in the birth. So again, human birth or animal birth. Animal births, again, you don't actually perform any dharmika karmas, right? And you don't have anything like that. So effectively, you will be given an prarabdha, you will experience it, and then that wipes out. And then because you get animal birth, normally is one gets animal birth. Human birth is the rarest of the births, right? Jantunam Narajanma Durlabam, Shankaracharya says in his Viveka Chudamani. Yes? So if you get that human birth, that means you can perform good karmas and increase as part of Agami, you can increase that into, add that to Sanchita karma, and then hopefully enjoy the Swargas and then get a better birth next time and things like that. But getting an animal birth means you are effectively, you are clearing all your past sins, historical sins that's committed, that's accumulated a lot. By going through the multiple births of animals, births, you will clearing that sins, and then hopefully at some point your balance kind of become net, and then at that time you might get one might get a birth as a Shudra or Chandala or whatever, one form of lowest form of the lowest class of the human birth. And then from there again, if you do as per the dharmas, then you might get higher up again. So this is where again, when Bhagavan says varnashramas, okay, chaturvarnam maya srishta gunakarma vibhagayo, when he says gunakarma vibhaga, gunakarma, again, karma, normally people, we discussed very lengthily when that came here, when we looked at that shloka. But then again, remember, karma, there is not talking about just the actions, karma, duties one performs in this life. Karma, how it has happened over many lives before, historical, right? So that accumulated says that where you are going to get birth. So if one gets in the birth in the form of a Brahmana family, then that's another one type of birth. Getting birth in the form of a Shudra family is another birth. So this is again because of historical karmas that's accumulated over. Okay, so this is the three types of karma palas: prarabdha, agami, sanchita. Sanchita, prarabdha, agami. Okay, so now what happens when Brahmajnana happens, when the realization happens?
How prarabdha get accumulated?
Prarabdha does not get accumulated. It just gets added. You will get a portion of your sanchita karma for this life. Whether it is animal life, human life, whatever the life that one gets, birth one gets, that birth will carry some karmas, previous karmas attached. A portion of the sanchita karmas attached. Okay. So, for example, you had 100 good things, 100 bad things, okay? 50 allocated this time as a prarabdha. So you will get 50 to spend this time. You can't say that I'm not going to spend. You will get that 50 happy moments in this life, okay? So that is just burning away. So you have to experience it. And similarly, 25 minus in the birth one here means you have to experience those 25 negatives in the birth. So that is allocated to you. You can't say that I'm not going to experience it. I don't want it. I want to save that 50 again so that I can experience in the future. You can't say that because you have to experience. That's been allocated. That's what we've been saying, that karma that became effective. Okay. So that's where I was going next, where the Brahmajnana comes in. So let's say we are going through the same example here. We have gone through many 100 lives. I did not want to draw this diagram with hundreds and hundreds of lives. So let's say in my second life, I get this Brahmajnana halfway through. Let's say I'm 30-year-old and suddenly I get Brahmajnana. Okay. So in this life, I had 60 positives allocated as, again, I'm saying prarabdha, positives, good things that's supposed to happen, 15 negatives that's supposed to happen. I already experienced, out of 60, I already experienced, let's say 30, and 10 of the negatives I already experienced this life. At this moment, I have a Brahmajnana. Okay. So that means I still have prarabdha, another 30 to experience positives, another 5 negative to experience, right? Brahmajnana. At this moment, my prarabdha quota, out of this 60 that's allocated here, right? I still have this 30 and 15, out of 15, 10 already experienced, 5 left, right? At that moment, Brahmajnana happened. Now, in this life, because I've been so good and I'm going through all this yoga, meditation, and everything that we've been learning in this Bhagavad Gita sessions have been so good. I accumulated so much agami. Okay. I accumulated so much of that. And I had some balance as well previously. Sanchita karma, whatever that was. And I might have done little bit negatives this time. Okay. But I've attained Brahmajnana now. Through the blessings of the Guru, I attained Brahmajnana. What happens was, at this moment, this Sanchita karma, whatever that was there, the balance, fixed settings we had, fixed deposit we had, okay, that basket completely wipes out. Sanchita karma wipes out. The agami karma up to now, this Brahmajnana moment, 4,000 good things I have accumulated, punya points, let's say, nectar points I accumulated. That 4,000 points get disappeared. Similarly, -5 things I did in this life bad, those things also get wiped out because I have Brahmajnana. So effectively, Sanchita karma wipes out, agami karma wiped out. But the prarabdha balance I had, out of 60, I had 30 here, right? And then out of 15, 5 I had from this moment. Those I have to experience till the end of this body. Okay. And when this body dies, there is no another birth because I have attained moksha. So that's what this shloka is saying. So, sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. So that jnana, raising of that jnana, destroys the agami, whatever I have done up to now, the phalas, fruits of that, it destroys all that. And it destroys the fruits of all the previous karmas I have done, except the ones that has already allocated to me, and those have started bearing results. That's the prarabdha. Okay, except the only thing that remains is the prarabdha. And again, agami, anything I do from this point where I have the Brahmajnana till my death, let's say another 40 years, I am going to do some karmas anyway, right? I will be doing the karmas. Those karmas, agamis, will not accumulate again because I am not doing them with any intention of, with any desire of results, right? I don't have any ignorance at this moment because I'm Brahmajnani now. So from that point, I won't have anything accumulated. So all the previous wiped out, all the things I did in this life also wiped out, and anything I do from this point also wiped out is not going to have any effect. The only thing that remains is the prarabdha quota that's allocated for this life. I mean, I'm saying this life, but again, we looked at Vasishta's example, right? Where the prarabdha quota is allocated so that it spreads over multiple births, multiple lives. But the person remains Brahmajnani, he's just experiencing those things. So this is where, again, important, because we see some Brahmajnanis, they go through health issues and things like that. People say that if he's Brahmajnani, why can't he fix himself, those health things like that, health issues? Why can't he do that? That's not the case. Those Brahmajnanis, they don't care what happens to this body because body is not them, right? They think that body is not me. So for them, whatever happens to the body is just because of prarabdha. They don't worry about it. So that's the difference between them and us. Then this is the Brahmajnani. There is one more thing related to this karma phalas I just wanted to cover. Any questions on this Brahmajnana and how it gets wiped out?
Yeah. Who allocate the prarabdha?
So it's again, well, we say that Brahma, but it's actually a duty of Yama's duty as part of the controller of all the list. So Yama maintains all the good and bad deeds everyone does. So then it gets allocated. Okay. Then there is one more thing I just wanted to say. So if somebody, let's say, has life here, okay, at some point, has got a life and lived 20 years, 25 years, whatever it is, and he's been allocated some prarabdha. His quota has been allocated for this life, right? And he's seeing all the difficult things in his life. Okay. And whatever, maybe family problems, money problems, job problems, various problems, feels very depressed and commits suicide. So prarabdha, let's say he was allocated 50, okay, positive and 25 negatives, or the other way around, whichever way it is. Okay, 20, maybe 50 negatives because he's committing prarabdha, he's committing suicide. So what happens? He's experienced only, let's say, 20 of half of that prarabdha. What happens is because he commits suicide, ends his life, this body, the remaining prarabdha carries to the next. Okay, and that's the scenario where, but because that person commits suicide, which is against the Dharma Shastras, the result is that person gets even more sin. Okay, so the person gets even more sin in that instance. So effectively, he will have to go through a lot more. He will get a lot of agami from that birth. So here in this example, for example, he commits suicide halfway through or whatever it is. Let's say out of 80, he's experienced already 40. Okay, another 40 remaining. So that 40 plus because the committed suicide was committed, which is against the Shastras, he gets a huge negative. And then for the next many hundreds and births, that person who has committed suicide has to spend in Naraka and many kalpas he has to spend there and then get a birth as a worm or a whatever. Lowest of the forms of the birth, many births like that. And then finally, when this huge negative balance becomes manageable, Bhagavan says, okay, at that time, you can now get a birth of a human life. So that's why one should never commit suicide because the karma allocated will never disappear. Whatever we have done, we have to experience. Whether it is good or bad, we have to experience it. We may not like it, but we have to experience it. And while experiencing, if we are good and following the Shastras and the Vaidika Marga and accumulating this agami, as long as the objective is to make this agami karma as much as positives and not negatives. Again, I'm saying positives and negatives here. Again, dharma, adharma, virtue, punya, papa. Okay, so whichever way you want to look at it. But throughout, as you accumulate more and more punyas, what happens is it results in the chitta shuddhi, right? It gradually helps in that way. So you will more and more attach. So, for example, if someone does not do anything today and then suddenly starts joining a bhajan session and then starts doing pujas and then gets a guru and that person guides them to do some other things, practice religious activities. So gradually it helps. It may not be in this life. Next life, they probably will get even more better situations and then better and then better. Like this, if that person continues that accumulating like that, so every birth we continue to do that, then ultimately it results in the chitta shuddhi that will result in this brahma jnana. And then when this jnana comes, sarva karmani bhasmasa kurute, this jnanagni, it destroys everything. That's what Bhagavan says in this shloka. And things like that. And there was a question on how prarabdha karma, how much of that previous historical karma accumulated, fruits accumulated, whether it is good or bad accumulated, gets allocated as prarabdha. Who allocates and things. So from a Purana's point of view, it's either Brahma at the beginning of the creation, and then Yama's duty is to allocate, punish, and give fruits and things like that. So that's his dharma. That's why it's called Dharma Raja. Okay, that's his duty. So from Puranic point of view, but the other explanation is nobody allocates. It is the person who accumulates himself gets it based on the kind of maturity of those results. Okay, so that is known as apurva. I think in the second chapter, when we were looking at these karmas and things like that, at that time, second or third chapter, we briefly looked at this apurva state. So, for example, one performs a sacrifice or a ritual or a puja, vrata, whatever it is, the results may not come immediately. It will take some time. Okay, some time in the sense it may be one birth or it may be 100 births, depends, or 1,000 births, don't know. Okay, so it may take some time. So that period between is known as apurva, and that's kind of let's call it in today's world language probably maturity period. Okay, so it is not mature. That results is not mature because you have a lot of historical baggage to carry on. So this again, what happens is Shastra says that if the action performed is so good or so bad, it can override what's already being allocated to you. Okay, prarabdha karma could become the overridden by some of the things that's one done in the unlikely scenario. But normally this maturity period is there, so you always get some sort of in a whatever you perform, this will okay, you will going to get this in X number of births or it's whatever, right? So that's how it apurva period. That's how it's one of the things explained as well. So the allocation is not well from a Puranic point of view. It's there are devatas who allocate that, who make sure that every jiva gets their prarabdha karma. But in also looking at from a Vedantic point of view, it is the allocation is not by anybody else. It is your own karma. You only experience it when you are ready to experience it. So when you are ready to mean it, depending on that karma, one experiences it. So that's just wanted to add to that what we looked at last time.